Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
This season of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender series is going to be litty as fuck, dog. Check this out. We already heard recently Antonio Shevchenko, Valentina Shevchenko's sister, is going to be on one episode of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender series, which is super dope. But now, former NFL star Greg Hardy is set to make his professional MMA debut at Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender series. Greg Hardy is a guy, he's got a little bit of a controversial past, maybe a lot of bit of a controversial past. But with that being said, he's coming over from the NFL, former Dallas Cowboy, and also Carolina Panther. Actually, I believe he still holds the Carolina Panthers single season sack record. So very athletic heavyweight coming over here, going to be a real big dude. I mean, he's going to be one of the most athletic heavyweights to fight in, not in the UFC yet, but he's in Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender series. If he actually gets the contract, which is very possible. If you don't know how Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender series works, there's like 5 fights on each show episode, and whoever has like the most spectacular KO or the most spectacular win of the night, either 1 or 2 performances, gets signed to the UFC. So if he comes in and gets a first round KO or a spectacular knockout, or just happens to have the best fight of the night, he could be signed to the UFC after that. And it's very likely, as all 3 of Greg Hardy's amateur fights have ended in the first round via KO. His most recent performance was an amateur fight in the LFA, which is the UFC's feeder league already. And he knocked a guy out in 14 seconds. So now he's coming to Dana White's Contender series. If he can continue his spree of knocking dudes out in the first round against Brandon Sales, who's 5-1, an Army veteran, then he will probably get a contract to the UFC. Now, with that being said, Greg Hardy's probably not going to be the most popular fighter. Well, he might be popular, but not for the right reasons. As I said, he had a domestic violence incident in his past, which is why I believe he was let go from the NFL. But I don't believe the victim showed up to court, so the charges, I believe, were dropped. But it was a pretty bad situation. So with that being said, there's a lot of bad stuff that comes with Greg Hardy, but Dana White spoke on this back in 2016 and said, look, he's not a guy like, that he would let me, I think I actually have the quote. I don't want to put words in his mouth. This is what Dana White actually had to say back in 2016. He said, I'm not saying he should be welcome here. I'm saying I'm a guy who believes that if you make a mistake, your life isn't over forever. When you make mistakes, it's about how you act from there on out. And Greg Hardy hasn't really gotten into any situations like that since then. So he's grinded his way to become an MMA fighter. He's not in the NFL no more. So it's looking like his second chance is going to be as an MMA fighter. With that being said, I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of people that want to see this dude get fucking knocked out, which is very possible in the heavyweight division. But as I was saying earlier, he's going to be one of the most athletic heavyweights since Brock Lesnar, to come into the UFC. But with that being said, he's also not going to be one of the most skilled guys. So it's a very real possibility. If he actually gets to the UFC, he's going to have a good chance, and when I say Francis Ngannou, I just mean, Francis Ngannou, we saw in his fight versus Stipe Miocic, he might not be the most well-rounded fighter as far as the most technical fighter, but he's still going to be able to beat a lot of guys with his knockout power or his athleticism. Francis Ngannou was knocking dudes out before he fought Stipe Miocic, and people say he got exposed, and I'm sure Francis Ngannou, who's scheduled to face Derek Lewis in his next fight, he's got a good chance of winning that fight. You know what I'm saying? So comparing that to Greg Hardy's going to have a chance at knocking dudes out in the heavyweight division, because in the heavyweight division, it's not all about being the most technically skilled fighter. Now, when he gets up to if he gets up to the top 10 and top 5 guys in the UFC, then Greg Hardy's probably going to have a problem. But he could have problems before that. I mean, he's coming over from the NFL. I don't think he has a background in wrestling or boxing or anything like that. He could have a small background, but you know what I'm saying? Not the level of a lot of these fighters that are in the UFC. So we'll see what happens. Even though he's gonna bring a lot of eyes to this, that's one of the good things. Even though a lot of people might be rooting for him to lose, which I do think is gonna be the case, I could be seeing see him being a guy that gets booed and, you know, people are rooting for it to lose. And even if that's the case, he's going to bring a lot of new eyes to the sport. You know, a lot of people that watch the NFL, I'm sure my brother, you know, casual fan, the microwave, he's going to be, when he hears Greg Hardy, if he gets a fight in the UFC, he's going to be like, yo, I got to watch that, because he watches the NFL and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, a lot more than me. So he's going to bring a lot of new fans to the sport, in my opinion, which is a good thing for the sport of MMA, but he has to get past Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series first. He has to get past a guy who already has 6 professional fights in Brandon Sells. This is going to be Greg Hardy's first professional fight. He fought 3 amateur fights, but he's still 0-0 as a pro. So I'm going to be watching Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series anyway, but this is just one more big name added. And we've also got Antonio Shevchenko, Valentina Shevchenko's sister, on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. So it's going to be a fun season for sure. Last season we saw people come out like Sean O'Malley, Benito Lopez, and others. I can't think of more off the Philip Hall, Spencer Halls. I mean, I watched the whole season. It was fun. So this season looks like it's going to be even better potentially. With that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think about the UFC not signing Greg Hardy yet, but what do you think about Greg Hardy fighting in Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series in the comments. I'm out. And as always, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. I'm out.
This is #1 bullshit.